Welcome to VIVA MEDA 47. Whether you are a community member, a partner, an elected official, a supporter, or a dedicated staff or a board member, you are part of the MEDA family. Tonight gives us an opportunity to extend our family to a global virtual stage. So whether you are watching tonight from Seattle to Miami, San Diego to Boston, I welcome you. If you're joining us from as far away as Nicaragua, Colombia, or from my dear Mexico, tonight is about unity, urgency, and frankly, about keeping people alive. Bienvenidos. We welcome each of you as one of our change makers. At our gathering last October, we were honored to be joined by former U.S. Representative Luis Gutierrez and iconic civil rights leader Dolores Huerta. They spoke of the need for a reinvigorated civil rights movement. We spoke about MEDA's good work that was underway and the great work that was yet to come. We spoke about the importance of community. So much has happened since our gathering last October that it's hard to know where to begin. 1 year later, I am a changed man. MEDA has changed, our mission district has changed, our world has changed. Last November, I lost my mother. When that happened, I again became that 5-year-old boy who was most afraid of losing his mother. Last November, that fear was realized. Since November, my brain has been cloudy. Since November, my heart aches. Without my mother, I am less. Since March, I am not alone in my grief. Direct personal interactions are forbidden. Birthday, wedding, graduation celebrations have been paused. The end of the school year never happened. Housing security is threatened or lost. Businesses close, jobs disappear. Many lives have been lost to the virus, to police violence. Since March, we grieve together. COVID-19 has most clearly revealed the truths that we all already knew. Some people have low-income essential jobs. The same people live in overcrowded conditions. Those very people are infected by COVID-19. We see this all too clearly in San Francisco, where Latinos are just 15% of the population, and yet we are 51% of those getting infected. And we see the same pattern in Watsonville, Stockton, Los Angeles, Houston, Miami, and New York. Latinos with essential jobs living in overcrowded conditions are getting sick at higher rates throughout this country. This is not a coincidence. This country's education, jobs, financial, housing, and health systems have been designed to achieve these deadly results. Wrong, shameful, racist. At MEDA, within a couple of weeks of the shutdown, we made key structural changes to respond to the moment and to meet community needs. These changes led to a service focus on 3 key areas: income, housing, and small business. For income, we continue to place people into jobs that may be available. More relevant right now, we have been part of managing the distribution of financial resources to families in need through 3 different funds. The Immigrant Relief Fund, a fund for low-income families. The Immigrant Family Relief Fund, a fund for low-income families with children who are not eligible to receive federal funds. And the Right to Recover Fund, a fund for people testing positive for COVID-19 to allow them to self-quarantine. For housing services, we have focused on 2 key areas: keeping people in their homes by preventing their evictions, and ensuring that families continue to apply to the existing rental and ownership opportunities that have been still available through this pandemic. On the business side, we processed over 50 PPP loans, securing $4.3 million in capital, saving over 300 jobs at local restaurants, in-home child care providers, hair salons, and more. Additionally, in collaboration with the City of San Francisco, we have developed the SF Help Loan Program, which provides loans at 0 interest rate and no fees to local serving neighborhood businesses. For this loan, we leveraged a $1 million investment to bring in an additional $6.5 million in capital, which will result in over 400 loans and an additional 1,200 jobs saved by the end of the year. our Mission Promise neighborhood joined our direct service team while maintaining a strong focus on the schools and continuing to show much care for school children and their families. NPNs serve over 750 unique families and over 1,000 children with income relief, eviction prevention, housing opportunities, distance learning, food resources, and more. And process loan applications for in-home childcare businesses. On our real estate work, since March, we have purchased 4 additional apartment buildings and are now in the process of purchasing our first single-room occupancy hotel. We are also opening 2 new multifamily buildings in the heart of the mission, totaling 270 units. These buildings will also permanently house several mission-based organizations. Our policy team successfully coordinated a demand that San Francisco declare Latinos a vulnerable population, given the disproportionate impact COVID-19 has had on our families. In San Francisco, the Latino community's response to this crisis is second to none. It would be difficult to find another community that has responded as quickly, created such a strong alignment across organizations, and taken matters into its own hands when it comes to this pandemic. It has become clear during this crisis that MEDA is part of an ecosystem of exemplary organizations that are first responders to the needs of San Francisco Latinos during this COVID-19 crisis. The severity of the crisis requires all of us to be united as change makers. As such, MEDA is working hard to support the collective community efforts by leading with services on income, housing, and business support. Using our finance, fund development, communications, evaluation, and other administrative infrastructure to support the broader community efforts. Supporting the convening of a network of 30+ organizations to check in on how individuals and organizations are managing and develop shared goals and implement collective strategies. Consistently seeking and acting for unity within the network. Showing courage and taking risks on behalf of the collective efforts, even if it means being punished for doing so. The network of mission district organizations is strong, special, and most needed. It must be valued and supported, and MEDA is doing its best to do so. But again, what is happening in the mission is not that much different from what is taking place in other Latino communities or other low-income communities, period. While these communities may have access to social services, they lack the infrastructure to integrate their financial capability services, develop affordable housing, provide access to capital for small businesses or affordable housing, or create policy to develop systemic change. We are sharing MEDA's practices with communities across our city, our state, and nationally. At the center of this work is our effort to enhance capacity of these organizations and communities. I have many thanks to give. First, I want to thank MEDA's amazing staff. As always, they have showcased an equal resolve, commitment, and endurance. They have worked tirelessly to help those in need, often at personal expense. They are also experiencing the isolation and trauma of the last 6 months. And as a team, we have experienced much personal loss of loved ones during this time. We must also applaud our MEDA Board of Directors. Their support during this crisis has ensured that MEDA could quickly and efficiently pivot without second guessing. And of course, I want to thank all of our sponsors, funders, and donors. You make our work possible. By supporting us, being flexible, and growing your support. I also want to recognize tonight's featured speakers and panelists. We hope tonight will inspire your commitment and activism. We need you to pledge to be a change maker. We're prepared to tackle these challenges head on, and we need your support. I hope you will donate now. As I close, I am reminded of what I have learned, what has inspired me in the past year, in the past 6 months, and what brings me hope for the future. I've been reminded that in difficult times, it is your family, your friends, your memories, and your sense of purpose that will keep you strong. Our MEDA team inspires me. As such, I made it my #1 priority internally to focus on staff wellness. To keep up the good work, the bottom line is that we need to take care of our staff. I'm inspired by the network of organizations that is creating the response to the COVID-19 crisis in San Francisco's Latino community. 6 months later, we know that we cannot look to others for solutions. All of us are now health workers. Our main task now is to keep people alive. We have taken matters into our own hands. The response is up to us. I am hopeful about the future of this country. As this administration continues to diminish itself by its efforts to demean and hurt others, that people will vote for a different vision of this country. It is only then that we will have a true response to the crisis, a sense of normalcy, and once again, we can go back to achieving this country's full potential. My daughter Anna is most like my mother, and she is a change maker. I am most hopeful about my daughter and young people like her. It is these young people who will elect individuals who are qualified, morally and otherwise. It is these young people who will ensure that the flawed systems we have created are changed to treat all of us equally. It is these young people who will take their beliefs, their anger, and their strategy and turn it into action with a sense of urgency and purpose. These young change makers are whom we will learn from, inspire us, and give us hope. Again, thank you for spending this evening with us.